Hey guys, welcome to the Little Yo Pod video series. I'm Laura Jackson. I'm the host and writer for Little Yo Pod, the All Things Yosemite podcast. I am sequestered for now during the COVID pandemic in an undisclosed location. I'm just kidding. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Waiting to hear about if I'm going to be going back to the park. So until then, I am not only continuing Little Yo Pod, but I have started a video series to entertain myself as well as hopefully some of you folks who come along for some insider Yosemite information. So today I wanted to do a response to a negative Yelp review. I'm sure that many of you have seen these circulating on the internet, and whoever finds them picks out like the funniest one to respond to. But I wanted to kind of go in and address some of the more recent negative Yelp reviews, because I find negative reviews to be the best way to learn about a place. Today's review comes from May of 2019, almost 1 year ago. And things are going to be very different this year, but this review pretty accurately reflects many summer days in Yosemite, and it's about the traffic problem that we have there. If you are visiting Yosemite for the first time, in the summertime, you might be surprised by the level of people that visit. We get on average about 4 million visitors a year. Most of those people come between Memorial Day and Labor Day, so between May and September. And the height of that is really, it culminates on like 4th of July weekend, which is, oh my gosh, just like the worst. So I'm going to address this Yelp review that I found from May of 2019, and this person gives it 1 star. She says, if I could give it 0 stars, I would. Not to the park, but to the management of this whole place. Spent 2.5 hours one way to get here just to come pay $35 to get in, and stuck in traffic that is one way, no U-turn for miles long. Stuck in traffic that is one way, no U-turn for miles. Yeah. So the way Yosemite Valley is set up, it's like one way in and one way out. There's no way to turn around if you decide that you want to go home early. You have to sit there potentially in gridlock traffic just to get down to Curry Village to turn back around again. So it's not a great system, to be honest, and I've seen that traffic backed up many, many, many times. Those are the days that you see people doing some pretty crazy stuff. They just get out, some of them start walking. Some people just park their cars wherever they can, so they'll drive into meadow or forest area and park their cars. So she says, we already gave up on finding parking, since we just wanted to get out of there. And there are more cars allowed in than there are parking spaces. So some people are doomed to stay in their car all day when they come during the height of summer, which is really a shame. Took us 4 hours to get out, and that's because she was stuck in gridlock traffic. She says, I had 3 little kids and we ran out of water. If you go somewhere, you're just assuming if there are stores that you're going to be able to get out and get supplies that you need. But when you're stuck in traffic for hours and hours at a time and you don't know where you are, that's not going to be an option for you. So running out of water, that's actually really scary during the summertime with kids. I would be pretty upset about that too. They mentioned it was a safety hazard, and if there was an emergency, people would never be able to get out of there in time. And this has actually been a concern of mine as well for a long time. You know, when there's gridlock traffic, if there's something that happens, I mean, God forbid, a fire. We haven't had one in Yosemite Valley, but if there was one, it would probably be fast moving, and if it was in the summertime, which is fire season, it would be hard for people to get out. That's just a fact. And then when they mentioned it to the management, they said that they knew, but if they wanted to complain, they could write a letter. She says they wasted a day to come pay $35, sit in 4 hours of traffic, and drive for 5 hours. And then she ends with ridiculous. followed by 5 or 6 exclamation points. This is a very useful review for people that are visiting to know that that is the potential. Basically, when you get to the park, if you see a long line to get in, you know that you're going to be set up for kind of an unpleasant experience of sitting in traffic. So the Park Service is aware of this. It's not any better for them that are dealing with it. The people that you're dealing with when you come into the park, they're not the ones that are setting the traffic guidelines, and they're dealing with it too in the heat and not happy about it. And there's nothing that any of us can do at that point. The Park Service website for Yosemite does have some tips about how to plan your visit that address some of these problems. Number 1 says, pack your patience. Millions of people visit Yosemite from April through October. Yosemite Valley is the main destination for most visitors, but there are many places to go in the park. Depending on the time of year, that's true. If you're coming during the low season, I guess, before the Tioga Pass is open, you're kind of limited to Yosemite Valley, and then in the later season, you also have Glacier Point as an option, and Tuolumne Meadows and Hetch Hetchy. Hetch Hetchy is actually open for most of the year, so that's a good alternative also. Those areas, not Glacier Point, that's going to be crazy, but Tuolumne Meadows and Hetch Hetchy tend to be a little less crowded, so you can plan some days around those areas. I spend many summer days there myself, so I think they're great. They take a little bit more research, maybe. There are less facilities, so plan for that. Make sure that you have some things on your itinerary. Number 2, early birds avoid traffic. From spring through fall, arrive in the park before or after peak hours, before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. to avoid delays and traffic congestion. Getting there before 9, great idea. If you can get there any earlier, highly recommend it. You can find parking, and then once you find a place to park, you just park your car and stay there. If you can, at that point, renting bicycles is a really great way to get around, or you can take the free shuttle. But that can get backed up in traffic as well. So bicycles, if you bring bicycles, even better, or just be prepared to walk everywhere, which is great too, because it's mostly flat. So, but you won't be able to see as much potentially if you're walking. After 5 p.m. during the summer, traffic can stay backed up until 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, get there before 9. Don't plan to leave until, a little after 8 maybe. Or if you want to stick around in normal years, you can catch one of 2 great evening programs such as Starry Skies or The Night Prowl that are run through my department. We won't be having them this year, unfortunately. In 2021, we will probably have those back and going again. And those start at 9 in the summertime, and they are amazing. Drive responsibly, observe posted speed limits, and use pullouts to take pictures and let other cars pass. Don't stop in the middle of the road. Huge hazard and causes major congestion. Please find a place to pull off if you can. Oh my gosh, I've seen this. People just park their car in the middle of the road and get out when they see a bear. I know it's exciting, but I mean, if you don't want to get rear-ended or have your door ripped off or get hit by a car, please find a proper place to park. Drive responsibly. So the speed limit in the park is 35 miles per hour in most places, and that is to protect the wildlife because they do run out into the middle of the road sometimes. And you're not going to like this, but I've seen a bear get hit by a car that was speeding. So I'm sorry that's a downer, but that's why the speed limit is so low. It's to protect them. So if you don't want to hit an animal, please follow the proper speed limit. Please protect our wildlife. Cellular service is limited. Don't be surprised if you can't receive calls or texts in the park. Enough said. I wonder if our Yelp reviewer had read some of these tips, if their visit would have been any different. Basically, if you're off of work and your kids are out of school and it's a beautiful day and you have the bright idea to go take a day trip to Yosemite, you have to be prepared that thousands of other people have that bright idea as well. But hopefully this little video helps you to plan your next Yosemite adventure and make it a pleasant one. We're all there to appreciate that natural beauty and have a good time and make sure it's there for not only us, but for many generations down the road. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this little YoPod video series. I wanna thank you so much for watching, because I'll be trying to post these about once a week as little YoPod releases as well. And don't forget to check out Little YoPod, the All Things Yosemite podcast. There will be a link for that in the show notes as well. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.